doing perfectly fine. I am Rishabh Bhandari, a graduate of National University, Lucknow. And on behalf of Into Legal World, I welcome you all to our weekly round of webinars. The topic for today, as we all know, is English as universal language, wherein we will be discussing the importance of English language, ways to improve speaking skills, simple exercises to improve English speaking, and tips and tricks that help in effective speaking. Now, among other ideas, we will also be discussing how language affects our daily business and life. So, before we begin with the webinar itself, let's get to know the very organization that makes it all possible. That is Into Legal World. So, Into Legal World, it is a trademark of Parivitra Enterprises Private Limited, and it has been established. It is an established name in the legal fraternity, for it connects the entire legal fraternity with its various wings, such as online news portal, publication house, and legal services. Now we know that at Into Legal World, by providing quality legal contents in the form of legal articles, legal notes, legal news bites, and many more areas of interest, we have been exploring the same since 2016. Into Legal World is now embarking into the field of training and marketing. At the same time, it is devoted towards teaching. With an aim to provide advanced and specific knowledge, the organization is devoted to research and innovation in law through specific knowledge. Now, the idea of certification program on professional subjects as well as PCSJ special subjects is also there, in which the faculties are people such as honorable judges, eminent professors from several national universities, and well-renowned advocates and academicians, thus providing an environment for transforming law aspirants into legal professionals. Talking about Into Legal World's publication house, we have more than 55 publications to our credit and a channel of around 1300 advocates to provide entire range of legal services. We also have a monthly magazine called Into Legal World Magazine, which you should look into. It is a compilation of briefs on important judgments from various high courts and Supreme Court of each month as required for PCSJ examination and for advocacy, along with articles and legal updates on various topics. Founded by Ms. Richa Shukla and Mr. Amresh Patel at a very young age, I am proud to tell you that it has been awarded as the first legal startup of UP under Startup India program. And today we are ourselves mentoring more than 10 startups under us. Now, as you must already know, Ms. Sandra Benedict has graced us with her presence as the speaker for this given webinar. So, a brief about the very speaker of this webinar. I must tell you that being born and brought up in Lucknow and having completed her schooling from Lamatna Girls School, Lucknow, she has guided students to win accolades for the school in inter-school events such as dramatics, elocutions, debates, and music. Being a passionate teacher and a lifelong learner with 27 years of teaching experience, both in national and in international schools across India, she has the zeal and enthusiasm to take the students from where they are to where they should be by incorporating innovative thinking, teaching methodologies, and a constructionist approach to learning. She believes that through grit and determination, a proper guidance, a student can achieve his or her true potential. With effective communication, he or she can build a world that is tolerant to differences, thus making it a better place through understanding and communal harmony. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Rishabh, for that very elaborate introduction. I'm humbled by the introduction that you have given regarding me. And good evening, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. We are going to talk about English as a spoken language and how you are going to how it's going to affect your communication and your daily lives. Okay, so I am just sharing. So, as Rishabh has already mentioned and told you that in this webinar, there are several aspects that we will be looking into, and they are English as a universal language, the importance of the English language, how English affects our daily business or our daily lives, and simple exercises to improve English speaking skills. We will do a few exercises based on this, and then I will give you tips and tricks for effective speaking. I think I should give you tips and tricks for effective speaking before I conduct the simple exercises so that you should be able to do those exercises well. So, when we look at English as a universal language, why is it considered a universal language? What is it that made English such a widely spoken language? That was only because of the extension of the British Empire. You see that English language, it has its presence in nearly all parts of the world. The British Empire began around the 15th century, and then it had actually covered more than 25% of the entire world, where it had established colonies for trade, and therein it took over the administration of those countries. And in order to further their trade, they saw to it that English became a language that needed to be taught in schools and in offices so that they could conduct their trade easily. Now, since they had already uh, planted this language all over the world, it became easy for uh, people around the world to use this language for trade and communication and for business. And so you will see that English is the most important language which is used all over the world. And in fact, it is the official language in many countries. It is spoken by uh, almost half the population in the world uh, as a language for communication. And so, therefore, we say that English is a universal language. And therefore, we need to know how to speak the language. Now, why is it important that we use English language? We're going to look at certain areas because, as I've already told you, that it is the official language in a large number of countries. Okay, it's also a major medium of instruction in schools. Even if you have vernacular medium schools, you still have English as a subject that is taught, and there are still certain textbooks that require the use of English language. And so you see that English becomes a major medium of instruction in schools. We look at uh, the business world and we see that it is the dominant language in the business world. Of course, as you know, and you are now well versed with the internet, you know that English language is most internet friendly language. And of course, it is the most widely used language in the internet medium too. We also see that once a person knows how to speak English effectively, their confidence improves or increases. So it acts as a confidence booster. And also that once you are equipped with the skill of speaking in English, you are open to more job opportunities. So that's why English becomes a very important language to learn. So, how does English affect our daily business life? I would want all of you all to write it down and send it in your message to me so that I can see what you say regarding the English, how English affects you in your daily life. Okay, I can see some answers coming in. Someone has mentioned about travel. Yes, English affects and it gives us the opportunity to travel. If you know how to speak in English, you can travel to any part of the world and you will not feel lost, because English would be able to help you communicate with the people there. Yes, being connected to the rest of the world. It helps us to get connected to the rest of the world. Very good. We also, as we have already seen in our previous slide, it is a universal language, and so therefore it will affect your business life. Yes, it would be your working language. Yes, you can understand the lyrics of all my favorite singers who are English speakers. Or yes, it helps. If you know English, you would be able to understand the lyrics. And if you are musically inclined, you will definitely benefit by learning English. Learning English makes you feel you belong. Very good. It is a passport to the world. Good. Let me keep having your thoughts, keep penning your thoughts in the message column and letting me know what you are thinking about how English affects your daily business or your daily life. Better career opportunities. Very good. Okay, so we need to learn about certain tips and tricks for effective speaking. Okay? And I'm going to give you these very, very subtle tips and tricks which will help you to learn the language without feeling embarrassed or without feeling that people are going to pick on you or make fun of you. I want you to first start with short conversations. Short conversations means, hi, I'm Sandra. How are you? So you would say, I'm fine, thank you. And that's the way we start with short conversations. Start talking with little children. Little children do not judge. They are building on their language skills and they will understand you, even if you speak in incomplete sentences or short sentences. So it's very, very effective, or it's very easy to learn the language when you are talking with young or little children. Okay, so it's a good method to adopt when learning the new language. Talk to little children. Learn new words and use them in your daily sentences. So if you have picked up a few words, maybe from the newspaper, look at the newspaper, underline the words, and pick a few words, maybe 2 words, or 3 words, or 4 words, and then know the meaning, find out the meaning of those words, use those words in sentences when you are talking with whoever you want to practice with. Little children, you can practice with little children. You can practice with native English speakers who speak better than you. So it's good that you practice short sentences and use the words that you have picked up so that you build your own vocabulary. Then you can also reflect on your conversations. Very, very important. Reflect. Think what conversations you felt were effective. Where did people understand you best, and when did they understand you best? Were you able to understand what the speaker was saying? How would you like to go further, or how would you like to go ahead with English language skills? So these are reflections that you need to have on your conversation. And that will only happen when you begin to practice speaking. And practice is something that needs to be done over and over and over again. Record your voice. That's a very good way of reflecting on your conversation, reflecting on your diction, reflecting on your pronunciation, um, and the way you are speaking. When you record your voice and you listen to yourself, you will know where you are making a mistake and whether you are being understood clearly or not. And then listen. Listen to people speaking. Listen to video recordings. Listen to presentations and read. So when you read and you listen, then you begin to think in the language. And when you think in a language, then you're able to articulate those words. And then it becomes easy to speak in the language. So listening and reading will help you to begin to think in the language. And only when you begin to think in a particular language will you be able to speak as a native speaker. So we need to do all these tricks to bring about effectiveness in our communication. And lastly, but not the least, have fun when you are learning a new language. Have fun, play games, play video games. You pick up a lot of phrases using these games, like duck or fire, or shoot. So those words which you would never have thought of picking up or building on your vocabulary, those are easily acquired when you are playing these games. Even the colloquial language that we say, the local lingo that is being used amongst the youth, use it, enjoy it. For example, ASAP. I want this work done ASAP. So as soon as possible. Okay? Or nowadays when we talk about children, we use the word kids. Kid is actually a young one of a goat. But now we refer to kids as children. So that's the colloquial language that is being used in daily conversation. Enjoy yourselves, have fun, and that's when you will really enjoy learning a new language. So these are my tips and tricks for effective speaking. And now I want you to do a small exercise with me. So these are simple exercises to improve our speaking skills. I am putting up a few words and I want you to pronounce these words, to read them and pronounce these words. So this is opportunity. Sometimes I have heard many saying opportunity, which is a wrong stress on the wrong syllable. Okay? So when we learn to speak correctly, we will know where we need to put the stress. So it's opportunity. Let's look at another word. Familiar with this word? Very often I hear students saying knave. Well, this is not the right pronunciation. We need to pronounce it as naive. This is naive. Somebody who is not very skilled. A simple person is called a naive person. Very, very common word here. And you use this word very often because we need to take photographs. But how is this word pronounced? We pronounce it as photography. This is a difficult word, I know that. How do we pronounce this word? Think it over. This is rendezvous. When we are pronouncing this word, we need to understand it's rendezvous and not rendezvous as it is spelled out. Yes? And then I have this last word written here, a very simple word, but a word, this is a word that can be used for two different meanings. So when we say content, I am content with my situation. That means you're peaceful, you're happy with whatever situation you are in. But if we say content, content means what this webinar contains. All the aspects this webinar contains is the content of this webinar. Whatever you have just heard was the content of the webinar. But if I say content, then it means that I am satisfied. I am at peace. Okay? So in this course that we are planning to take, we will learn how to pronounce the words correctly and how to use the words in the correct sentences. I have one more activity for you, and that is look at the picture carefully and write 5 sentences about each picture that you can see on the screen. In the first picture, I have given you a few words, and I want you to use the words that have been given below the picture and make sentences using those words in your sentence. And in the second picture, I have not put down any words. I want you to write 10 sentences about the object that you see in the second picture. So I'm giving you 10 minutes to complete this. Okay, so, Rishabh, over to you. I have finished with the exercise.
Yes, ma'am. I hope that I am audible. There was some issue with the connection right now.
All
Am
right.
I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you're audible. Yeah.
All right, ma'am. Ma'am, that idea has been wonderfully presented by you. I that students they actually got to learn something from this given experience. At the same time, I have heard that you are taking the course into legal words course on English language. Would you like to talk about the same? What is the idea that you seek to cover through this given course?
Okay, so basically, what we are doing is just a minute, Abhishek. I'm getting some disturbance. Just let me settle this out. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Rishabh?
Yes, ma'am, perfectly fine.
So basically, what we are doing is we are going to have a 6 week course uh, on English speaking. And in those 6 weeks, we are going to cover the areas of reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Okay? Uh, in this, along in during the 6 weeks, as we are learning all these 4 areas for developing speaking skills, we will also be concentrating on grammar because grammar is the skeleton for the spoken language. And so, therefore, we will cover grammar in the 6 weeks, and if you attend the classes regularly, it should not be a problem in completing all the grammar that is required for you to speak effectively. So we will be having will also have some conversation based on the tenses that are being taught in that particular week. At the end of 6 weeks, I hope we would have reached the advanced stage and uh, students will be able to express themselves confidently and fluently.
All right, ma'am. That perfectly summarizes the given course, I feel. Ma'am, a question from my side. Now, I am someone who has always been fascinated by this given language, and being someone who takes great interest in this given language, I want to ask you, what is it about this particular language which, in your opinion, since you are a person, a very seasoned one, who contains a lot of experience in this given language. So, according to you, what is it about this given language which differentiates all other languages? For example, Spanish or French. Now, I have a lot of friends. I see a lot of my comrades taking different courses, different languages courses. Now, while it is true that all languages have some significance and they possess some beauty that cannot be replicated by different language by other languages, what is it specifically about this given language, English, which you find fascinating?
Okay, the most fascinating thing about English language is, uh, apart from being an avid reader myself, I loved reading books. So, of course, English as a language helps me to access different books, whatever I want to read, or whichever movies I want to watch, I am able to understand them very well. But as a language, I know there are certain things about the language which need to be given close attention to, or you need to pay careful attention to. Uh, for example, the verbs that are used. You have two different types of verbs. You have stative and the dynamic verbs, and those verbs are different verbs which you will not use a particular uh, tense with some types of verbs, and that is what we will be learning. But in other languages it is not like that. Other languages, you don't need to differentiate between the verbs and the verbs that you are using in your sentences. They are easily used. Only in English language, you need to uh, pay special attention to how you use the verbs when you are forming your sentences. And definitely, whenever we form our sentences, we use the tenses. So, yes.
That does sound like a very thoughtful idea, ma'am. Now, as we speak, there are a lot of viewers watching us, and one of those viewers has posed an interesting question, which I must mention to you. The question is there a difference between common spoken English and English spoken in courts with regard to arguments? And how can we improve courts' dialect?
Okay, now I'm sure, Rishabh, you will be able to throw a lot of light on this, the legal terms that are in use in the court. You've got to be familiar with them, right?
Definitely,
So, yes,
definitely.
the language that is spoken outside, as I talked about, is the colloquial language, which is it's the language that's not used in the formal setting. A court is a formal setting, so we've got to use the formal language in the court. But
Yes, ma'am.
when we are talking with friends, we can definitely use the informal language. That's your everyday colloquial language.
Yes, ma'am. I hope that this given question is answered. Now, a question from my side to you. Often I see that there are some words which possess a UK pronunciation which is very much different from the US pronunciation. And as someone who has been going through various conversations on the same idea, I'm pretty sure even you must be acquainted with the same idea that there are so many words in day to day languages which possess a different pronunciation, and many a time, without any intention, a heated debate starts as to what is the correct pronunciation of the same. For example, the other day I was going through an article where a person was absolutely frustrated at the pronunciation of GIF, whether it's a GIF or it is a GIF. And then I had to finally go to YouTube and see a 4 minute video on the same. I mean, some people will call me a nerd probably for doing that, but I needed to know what it is actually, because and then I got to know that the reason behind it being called GIF, despite the fact that it starts with G, is something very deep. It goes into something as deep as the second letter that comes after G, that is I. So, how do you, as an experienced teacher in this given field, would suggest students, people like me who are in their teenage or in their early adulthood, to go ahead with this given process of believing what is actually the correct pronunciation and what is not, especially in the context of globalization, now that the US pronunciation is very much expressed.
Okay, so I feel if we look at the Oxford Webster, Oxford Dictionary, you are definitely given the word, and also the stress where the syllable needs to be stressed. Uh, Now, since we have the internet, pronunciations are easily available on the internet, and you can definitely look up the pronunciations on the internet, and which they give you the right pronunciation. So yes, I would suggest that the more you listen to people talking, the better you will become at the at pronunciation and using the words effectively. Yes.
Yes, I'm very much agreed. In fact, being a student of the same language, I also feel that it is the experience matters a lot more than the books when we talk about languages. You cannot memorize how a given language is spoken in a given setup as much as you can learn by actually speaking or writing the same.
Definitely. Yes, I agree with you there, Rishabh, because unless and until we speak the language and we have a proper conversation, we will not know where we are going wrong. Okay. So
Yes.
when we are having a conversation, that's when we understand, okay, this word needs to be pronounced in this particular manner. And I make mistakes. I still make mistakes. Yes. But I learn from my mistakes. And I hope
Yes.
my students will also learn from their mistakes.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, now that you, a person as experienced as yourself, mentioned the idea of making a mistake, I cannot help but recall this beautiful quote that I heard some time back. The quote said, "Beauty and knowledge are two ideas in the pursuit of which all humans are allowed to remain children."
Yeah. So we should, learning is a never ending process. You learn right from the time you are born to the time you die. That learning continues. It's a continuous process. So I call myself as a lifelong learner.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I really hope that the students of this given webinar are able to take the course that you are coming up with, because a person with the experience that you possess will be, I'm pretty sure, will be able to handle all such queries and obstacles that a person faces in learning English.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do wish a lot many students will join us and we will learn together. It's not,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Ma'am, in relation to vocabulary, for example, we have been talking about grammar a lot. We have been talking about how to make conversation. In that experience, it matters a lot more than memorization. But in regard to vocabulary, is there any strategy that you would like to suggest? For example, when I was in class 11th, I was very much irritated by different words that I used to face in my day to day life, whereby I did not know what they meant. And gradually, I made this habit that whenever I came across a word which I did not understand, what I would do is simply write it down on a given piece of paper that will be comprising of a big thick book, and then writing that word down and then seeing the dictionary, writing its meaning down. And within 2 years or something, I remember I had collected around 4,000 words or something. And that was something that it was something that is not really expected from a person who just goes through life. I mean, if a person is in any given moment, and for example, a person is watching a video or is going through a book, instead of stopping that given task and going to the dictionary, it is something that is not naturally expected from a person. On that note, is there some strategy which would be much more convenient or rather interesting, which you would like to share for students so that they're able to hone their vocabulary?
Yes, like I had mentioned that the best way to build on your vocabulary is through games. That's the beginner's step for learning vocabulary, is just picking up new words and listing it down. And that was a very good thing which you had done. And yes, I remember a long time back when I was preparing for my a TOEFL. That's when I was a student, and that's exactly what I had done. I had made cards, and I had written the word on one side of the card and the meaning on the other side of that card, and then I would go over those words that I had collected, just to see whether I knew the meaning. Now my children think I am a walking, talking dictionary, and they ask me the meaning of the words instead of looking up the dictionary. And I always tell them, you need to refer to the dictionary. But because of the way I built up my vocabulary, that they have confidence in just coming and asking me the meaning of the words directly.
Ma'am, as we speak in this given language, a student of the same language asks me this question. Suppose I am talking to someone in English and I get stuck and feel out of words. What should be the correct way to come out of those situations without being silly?
Oh, perhaps you could just end the conversation by saying, it was nice talking to you, and we will get back on this subject maybe another time when let me gather my thoughts, and we will get back to on this subject on another day. So it'll help you, to be able to collect your thoughts and then approach him again or her again on the same topic, where you will be more prepared.
That does sound like a logical way to go about this conundrum. Now, ma'am, it has been a wonderful experience listening to you today. At this time, I would like you to give the concluding note.
Okay. Thank you for attending this webinar. I'm very privileged to be associated with Into Legal World, and they are doing a marvelous job. And I think this is going to be a stepping stone to success. And I hope all of y'all will benefit by joining this course and taking it further in your lives. So, God bless you and have a good day.
Everyone, I would really like for you to take ma'am's course on English speaking, and I feel that it would be important for you to actually access other course that Into Legal World offers too. They are certification course on advanced legal drafting, certification course on introduction to GST, certification course on corporate law and practice, that on competition law, that on income tax, that on research methodology, that on criminal law, that on constitutional law and human rights, that on company law, that on corporate criminal liability, certification course on practice and procedure in criminal litigation, certification on insolvency and bankruptcy code, certification course in international law and practice, certificate course on cyber law and data privacy, and lastly, I must say that I really appreciate all of you joining us today. I hope that it has turned out to be a fruitful experience for you. Goodbye and take care. To you too, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you.